Hello, my name is Karen McCrae. I am Senior Director of the Institute program at the U.S. Chamber, and on behalf of the entire team, welcome and thank you again for joining us this afternoon to learn a little bit more about what to expect on site at our Northeast Institute program, which is coming up real soon. I would first like to just cover a couple of housekeeping items. Nathan already put this in the chat, but again, please go ahead and mute yourself if you're just joining. We will be recording this session. We'll also have the slide deck available afterwards. And if you have any questions throughout, please go ahead and put them in the chat. We will have an opportunity at the end of the session for Q&A. At that time, you'll also be able to take yourself off of mute and ask anything and everything you'd like to know about our upcoming Northeast Institute programs. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our chair this year, Mr. Dan Lemire, to tell you a little bit about himself and give a welcome on behalf of the Board of Regents. So Dan, please take it away.
Thanks very much, Karen, and thank you all for joining us today. Very excited. We've got a week and a half before we all gather in Villanova and experience what is one of the best educational programs I've attended in my 26 years in association management. So I'm on the association side of things. I'm employed by Association Headquarters. We're a management company and we manage about 45 different nonprofit organizations. I'm dedicated to servicing two of our clients, which are the Society for Biomaterials. I've been with them for 21 years, and the REMS Industry Consortium. That's a group of pharma folks doing risk evaluation and mitigation strategies. And I've been with them since their formation about 3 years ago. So with that experience, I come to Institute looking to share experience and knowledge and gain some shared experience and knowledge from the colleagues that will be there. I'm really looking forward to it. It's always energizing. It always brings me back to work with great ideas and new enthusiasm when I return. And I'm very grateful to the Institute staff for all their hard work in making it run very smoothly, and I look forward to seeing many of you again and to meeting many of you for the first time. Really looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you so much, Dan. And we are joined by a couple of other volunteers, some members of the boards of regents, as well as some class advisors. So at the end, we'll give everyone a chance to share their tips or guidance or advice if you would like to, volunteers, those of you who are on this call. So with that, we will go ahead and dive in. And again, this session is meant to provide you with information on what to expect for being on site at Northeast. I know some of you on this call have attended Institute. This is not your first time. Some of you, it might be your first time at Villanova, specifically at our Northeast site. Some of you are first year, so it's your first time for everything. So again, throughout the course of the session, if you have questions or concerns, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Now, preparing for Institute, the first group of people who you should be hearing from, depending upon at what time you registered, are your class advisors. Class advisors are all graduates of the program, and they would like to give back their time and donate. They will be on site with you throughout the course of the week. Again, you should have already been hearing from them. If anyone who has registered, I would say, unless you've registered within the past 3 or 4 days, you probably should have heard from your advisor. So if you haven't, please either send us an email offline, iom@uschamber.com, or just drop your name in the chat and we'll make sure to go ahead and get you connected with your advisor. So again, they're there to guide you throughout the course of the week and provide you with logistical information, make sure you know where you're going, where you're supposed to be, at what time, etc. Also helping you prepare for the events and things that are taking place outside of the classroom, such as class dinner or activity, and really just be your go-to person throughout the week and leading up to the week. If you have questions or concerns, they're your person, they're your connection, and they will get you the answer if they themselves do not know. the answer. We do have a couple of resources available, the Linktree, the Event Hub, and the app. So after this session, you will receive an email, even if you're not currently joining us live. Everyone who is registered for Northeast Institute will receive an email with more information on these three things, the Linktree, the Event Hub, and the app, about how to join, how to access everything. Nathan is also currently putting all of these links into the chat. So if you are watching live, please feel free to visit that. The Linktree is your home base for everything. Anything you could possibly need can be accessed through the Linktree. It is URL based. You do not need to download anything to access it, but from that, you will be able to access the Event Hub. You'll be able to access information on the silent auction, industry consultations, course evaluations will be housed here, etc. So lots of information on there. We will also have QR codes on site on every person's tent card and name badge. That will lead you to the Linktree. So if you're ever lost, just know you need to find the Linktree, and then you will figure out where you need to go from there. The Event Hub, which I mentioned, will have you'll have access to the link, or excuse me, I'm sorry. You will have access to the Event Hub from the Linktree. That is a place where that will tell you your personal schedule of activities. It is tied to your registration. You will also be able to view directories. You'll be able to see all of the attendees, as well as the volunteers and the faculty members. It'll have room assignments, and that is also the place where you will be able to access your handouts and your presentations. So anything that we have received at this point in time from our faculty members will be accessible through the Event Hub. If there is not a PowerPoint or a handout associated with a class for which you are registered, that means we have not yet received that information from our faculty member. So please continuously check back. We'll be adding them as they are received. You will need the email that you registered with, as well as the password that was created during registration to access the Event Hub. I recommend bookmarking that, so that way you don't have to keep logging in every time. And then the app is a pared down version of the Event Hub. It is an app, so it is something that you do need to download onto your device. But again, Nathan put information on all of that into the chat there. The app is really great if you're just looking up a quick schedule. You need to know what room you're going to. Again, it is a pared down version, so it does not have everything that is included in the Event Hub, such as handouts. The Event Hub is web-based. Again, you can access it wherever you get internet, from your phone, your desktop, your laptop, your tablet, your iPad, whatever it might be. So those are just a couple of things to be aware of. Again, more information on this will be included in the email that will go out tomorrow after this session. We do encourage you to be aware of what to bring before you get to site. Attire, it is business casual, but dress for the weather. You never know what it's going to be. It could be, 95 degrees outside and then inside freezing. So wear layers, bring an umbrella. There is a lot of walking at this site, so bring comfortable walking shoes. And then your materials, which you'll hear more about from Nathan a little bit later on in this session. And if you are participating in the silent auction, which you will also hear more about, please go ahead and bring your auction items to registration. Once you get there, arriving at Institute on Sunday, starting at 2:30, we will have our program registration. That will be available in Bartley Hall, which is the main room on campus, the main building on campus where all classes are held, in the atrium. That's where we'll have program registration from 2:30 to 4. You'll be able to meet your class advisor at that point, get your materials, mix and mingle. We'll have some snacks available, meet some of the volunteers, and you'll be able to kind of situate yourself with the building, with Bartley. And then if you are staying on campus, I should back up. This actually starts at 2 p.m. Those of you who have registered to stay on campus, there will be a separate housing registration in Hovnanian Hall, which is where all of the people staying on campus will be housed. That's a part of the Commons. That is across the street from Bartley Hall. So it is within walking distance. Across the street, that's where you will receive your key to your on-campus housing, as well as other information information. We did just have staff just had a meeting with our on-campus housing contacts this morning. So you will receive an email communication again if you are registered to stay on campus that contains all you need to know in addition to your confirmation email that you have already received. So be on the lookout for that communication next week. You'll have that. And then also at 4 p.m. on Sunday, you'll divide into your individual homerooms. That is where you will have a conversation with your fellow classmates as well as your class advisor. You'll run through the week of events and you'll decide anything that still needs to be decided as far as class dinner, class activity, if you're taking group photos, etc. This is really an opportunity for your advisor to kind of just go through the entire week to make sure that questions are answered. We'll collect contact info, make sure we have a way of staying in touch with each other and making sure that you're comfortable, especially first years who are coming in not having experienced Institute before. So basically, homeroom is where you need to make sure all of your questions are answered. And then at 5 p.m., we'll be going together to a different building. Again, there's a lot of walking at this site. So heading over to the Connolly Center, which is just through the courtyard, and that is where our Institute kickoff will take place at 5 p.m. Dan, who you heard from at the start of this call, as chair, will be giving the welcome and kind of an intro for what to expect, an overview of the week in a little bit different way that the advisor is sharing that information. We'll have a video from select Board of Regents and class advisors sharing their welcome messages. We'll also have one of our faculty members who is also on the board. She is the past chair, Kate Conroy. She'll be sharing some welcome words on behalf of the faculty. And then afterwards, in the back of the room, we'll have a small reception. So with some small bites and non-alcoholic beverages, give you an opportunity to mix and mingle with your class and meet other participants in the program, as well as some volunteers and faculty. So that'll all wrap up at 6:30 p.m. And then afterwards on Sunday, you are free to go about your evening if that involves going back to your room, whether it's the Radnor or another hotel or on campus, going out to dinner with classmates or catching up on work, whatever you are free to do. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nathan to talk a little bit about what to expect from a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, so day-to-day, attendance obviously required in order to gain credit for the program. If you miss more than half the class, you'll be asked to complete some form of makeup work. You may not do makeup work for more than 2 classes. So if you have an issue with that, then unfortunately you will have to attend a different site. That's just how the attendance policy works for that. Class advisor or Institute volunteers will provide important broadcasts, conduct attendance, and introduce the faculty members. So be on the lookout for that. Different faculty members may ask you to come prepared with certain materials. Please be sure to visit the event website and review what materials and handouts are included. If they're not there, then we have not received them yet. So you might want to throw it back at that faculty member and get them to send it to us. Sometimes they may have missed something. Bring something with which to take notes, a laptop, notebook. If the device is electronic, just ensure that it's charged up before you bring it to class. You may not have access to an outlet near where you're sitting, and that's just a good safety tip overall. What were you going to do without it if you hadn't charged it up beforehand? Note that outlets will be limited. Temperature in the room is variable. We recommend dressing in layers, so maybe dress business casual, but be prepared for changes in temperature, walking inside, outside, whatever your comfort is for business casual. And then we'll have core and elective classes. You'll be taking 6 core and 3 elective classes. Those 3 elective classes you picked during registration. If you need to change your electives, please feel free to do so. We recommend doing it before registration closed, but since that has now happened, we would like, we still have the opportunity to do that before site, just so we can avoid doing that on site. So request a transcript right now if you need to, if you don't remember what electives you've taken in the past and maybe want to switch it up. Maybe you forgot what electives you put on the registration for this year. We can also help with that. And then core classes are 3 hours long and divided by year, so you're already registered into those, and those will be with your class level. Class sections attend all core classes together in the same room. Elective classes are 2 hours long and are comprised of attendees from any class or section, so that's a great way to mingle with the other classes as well and get some other ideas from them. Be sure to check your agenda for the location, as that might be different than your core elective room. There will be 1 elective class on Monday afternoon and 2 Tuesday morning. Breaks and lunches. Institute offers beverages from 7 to 8 a.m., a 30-minute morning break, a 1-hour lunch, and a 30-minute afternoon break. Breaks will consist of catered snacks and drinks in the Bartley Atrium, while a 1-hour buffet-style lunch will be held in the cafeteria of Doherty Hall. The dietary restrictions you detailed during registration have been passed on to on-site catering, but if you have any concerns, please reach out to your class advisor or directly to us at Institute staff. And then we'll move on to the other fun things that'll happen. Other than class, you have opportunities to get some more knowledge from other people in the industry through an industry consultation. So it provides an opportunity to talk one-on-one with a subject matter expert in a confidential setting, discussing issues raised in class in greater depth or address a professional challenge that you are facing. Use the link, we'll put it in the chat, to register for an in-person consultation while on site with an Institute volunteer who will be paired with you based on the topic in which you wish to discuss. And then extracurricular opportunities. So your class dinner / activity, they're a great way to get to know your classmates, and they'll be held on Monday night. Check in with your class advisor about plans. Everything should be set, or at least in the motion of being set right now. Institute will also be holding tabletop discussions on Tuesday and Wednesday about a variety of topics that are important to Institute attendees. You should have received information from your class advisor, and you'll be reminded on site, so don't worry about getting access to those. They will be first come, first serve, so if you really want or see a topic that you want to get involved with, maybe get to lunch. Maybe you'll be released at the same time, but skip on over there. And then finally, the silent auction. So all proceeds for the silent auction go to the 2025 Northeast Institute Regent Scholarship Fund. So remember to pay it forward for those of you. If you have gotten a scholarship in the past, maybe you could pay it forward for those who want a scholarship in the future. The silent auctions held throughout the week. All the proceeds go to the silent auction for Regent Scholarship Fund for next year, and donations can be brought on to on-site registration on Sunday. There is a button on the link tree to join in on the auction and also to submit a silent auction form. If you also want to join the silent auction but don't want to use it through the link tree, you can text NE23 to 843-606-5995. That's 843-606-5995. Or you could just join through the link tree, which is a very easy way of doing it. And then auctions will close at 8 a.m. on Thursday, and you must pick up your silent auction item during the first break on that Thursday. So with that, we're going to throw it back to Karen to talk about the highlight of the week, graduation.
Yes, thank you, Nathan. So graduation is the culmination, of course, of the Institute journey. Those of you who are fourth years joining us on this call have been looking forward to it for a number of years. Those of you who have not been to Institute yet might not know how big of a deal it is, but it really is. It's a wonderful event, a great time to recognize and celebrate the graduates, So that will take place actually in the Connolly Center Villanova room, which is where we will be for the kickoff on Sunday. And prior to the ceremony starting, we are having some pre-ceremony bites in the lobby of the Connolly Center. So that is optional, but that is starting at 5:45. Again, another opportunity to mix and mingle with not only your classmates, but people from other sections and other class years, as well as the volunteers and the faculty member and the staff. We will be taking photos that evening. We'll have a professional photographer come in. So the grads will be taking their photos before the ceremony. But afterwards, we will be doing group photos for everyone else, starting with scholarship recipients. Anyone who has received an Institute scholarship this year and would like to be in the photo is welcome to join. And then we're going to go backwards from classes. So class 3 will go right after scholarships, then 2, then the first years, and then we'll do the volunteers as well as staff afterwards. So once your photo is done, you are free to head out. Again, oftentimes a lot of the classes like to do additional class dinners or activities or celebrations, or sometimes they'll go in smaller groups after graduation, especially those fourth years usually have something special planned for after graduation. Again, it signifies the completion of the Institute program, and it's a really nice way to recognize and celebrate the graduates. Everyone is expected to attend and show their support. Afterwards, on graduation, again, whatever you do, whatever you choose to do on that final day, we have that final night, I should say, excuse me. The final day is Thursday. So we start with our auction closing, as Nathan mentioned, at 8 a.m. And then we just have that last core class. So we'll have our break, as we always do, during that 9:30 to 10 a.m. time frame. That is when anyone who was lucky enough to win an auction item will pick up the item itself. It will have a little bit more substantial break food, and then we'll finish up the core class, and everything ends at 11:30. Just to note, the hotel at the Radnor, the checkout is at 11:30 as well. So you'll definitely want to make sure to either check out beforehand and bring your bag over. We can store them, in your core room for over at Bartley Hall. Or if you're lucky enough to request and be granted a late checkout, you're welcome to make that request on your own. Those of you who are staying on campus, there is no official room housing checkout. However, this will be included in the email that you receive next week. They are asking everyone to please be out of the dorms at 12:30, so that way they can flip the rooms and make sure everything is clean. So the last day always goes by, the whole week goes by really quick, but especially the last day. Again, oftentimes people are heading their own separate ways. A lot of people do drive to this site. So that reminds me, those of you who have been here in the past might be familiar with that. We used to have parking passes. That's no longer a requirement. There is a garage on the corner of Ithan and Lancaster, right across from where the on-campus housing is, also right across from Bartley Hall. So that is where we recommend parking, in that garage. The gate will be up. It will be free of charge throughout our stay, and no parking permit is required in that spot, in that garage. If you're parking at the hotel, again, specifically the Radnor, where we have our block, that is free of charge as well. Uber and Lyft are great options if you're coming from the airport. There's also the SEPTA train. So I would recommend, if you're interested in looking through that option, doing some research on SEPTA. There are multiple stops that actually run through campus, so that could be an option for you as well. Other notes and tips: if you are staying at the Radnor, just note they are undergoing renovations, not for the sleeping rooms, but specifically for the bar and restaurant. So that will not be in operation. They are selling beer and wine and some spirits at the front desk. And then every morning they will have complimentary coffee and tea, but that is it. So there is no food and beverage, full operations at the Radnor Hotel. There are a number of restaurants, and there's a grocery store as well, all within walking distance. And then there are a couple of places that are just a short drive or Uber ride away. This was information that was included in one of the class advisor updates. There's a link on the Radnor website that lists all of those things. I can go ahead and drop this in the chat as well. So just want to make sure you have a heads up on that. And with that, I am going to stop talking and see if we have questions. Garage, thank you, Soretta. She said garage parking is very easy. Wonderful. DJ, for the daily lunches, it is on campus, or do we have to walk to drive somewhere? Great question, DJ. So this campus, again, is spread out. This site is spread out. The lunches, cafeteria style in Doherty Hall that Nathan mentioned, is a different building than Bartley Hall. So you do have to walk. It's about a 3 to 4 minute walk, depending upon your pace. Just outside of Bartley Hall, you walk straight through the courtyard and then up a set of steps. There's also ramps available, and the building will be on your left. So it is a very, very short walk, but it is a walk in a separate building. There is also a very small cafe that has a number of offerings like pre-made sandwiches and salads and things like that, for those who don't want to go to the cafeteria, but cafeteria style, you get lots of options. That's also where the tabletop conversations that Nathan mentioned will be held. So, and it is included in the price of your tuition. So anything outside of that cafeteria would be on your own at your own expense. Joey, thank you, said, look for a class advisor / staff to guide you to lunch. Absolutely. Follow the herd. There will be people stationed, especially on that first day on Monday, throughout to make sure everyone knows where they're going. We're not going to have you wandering around Villanova's campus lost, I promise. But really, it'll be everyone walking over together. So you'll see. And then just going through the questions here from one instructor regarding course material slides. Okay, so yes. So Quentin said, sometimes the faculty members do reach out to those registered in their classes ahead of time, requesting pre-work, read this article, complete this survey, whatever it might be. That is completely up to the discretion of the faculty member. It's not a requirement nor an expectation from our standpoint that all faculty reach out. So I would say only a handful probably do, asking you to do one of those things that I mentioned. So it is completely normal to not hear from any faculty beforehand as well. They have your information, they have your roster, but they don't always reach out. That is, I'd say a handful do that. Oftentimes they'll just take a look to make sure they know who's in their class. Sometimes if you have Bob Harris, he might go and look at your website and pull your mission statement to use in, discussion throughout the class. So completely normal to only have heard from one or none faculty ahead of time. And what is the Uber drop-off point at the university? Also, our Ubers are easily available from the areas after class. I will say that in 2022, coming back from having been closed for 2 years for COVID, it was a little bit challenging. I just think that was more of a staffing thing. There weren't as many drivers around. But last year, it was much easier to get Ubers and Lyfts. So I don't anticipate you having any issues. That being said, I would certainly give yourself some time, especially in the mornings. Don't plan on calling an Uber at 7:50 when class starts at 8. Definitely allow yourself more time. But after class, you shouldn't have any issue there. And then as far as the drop-off point goes, unfortunately, Villanova does not have each of their buildings as separate addresses. Everything is 800 Lancaster Avenue, which makes it really, really challenging. But Bartley is just off of Ithan Avenue and Lancaster. So it's at that intersection. I'm wondering if anyone volunteers on this call or attendees, if you all did Uber, if you have a good drop-off point, drop that in the chat and I'll figure out, we'll figure out something and include it in the email tomorrow if we don't get a clear answer on that, because I don't want to give you an incorrect address. I mean, the main address is 800 Lancaster, and that should take you to the main entrance, which is right where Bartley Hall is. So that should get you there. Soretta, thank you. The refectory is a place that's right across the street that is right next to, adjacent to Habnanian Hall, which is the on-campus housing option. So we could do the refectory. Again, 800 East Lancaster is the main address of the building, and Bartley is just off of the main entrance. So if all else fails, you could use that or the refectory. And again, we'll try to get you some more specific information. Also, thank you. Adriana put this in the chat. A lot of people do have cars. So carpooling is encouraged. Make a new friend. It could be someone from your class or somebody from another class. You'll often see people gathered in the lobby, in groups, going to the parking lot, driving over, or heading over together in Ubers. We certainly don't anticipate that every person is going to, use their individual car. Carpooling is very common and encouraged. Thank you for that offer, Adriana. And then refectory, perfect. I'm seeing some carpool discussions. This is great. And thank you, Soretta. Yeah, it's a great opportunity to meet some people from other classes as well by offering rides. Make sure they're with Institute. Definitely not encouraging you to hop in the car of a stranger unless it's an Uber or Lyft or something official. But we do have about 80 or so with faculty and volunteers. I think it's in the low 90s of people staying at the Radnor Hotel. So we definitely have the majority of the property belongs to Institute people. Other questions, or at this point in time, when people are thinking of questions, if there are other volunteers, Joey, I'm going to call on you because I see you on my screen right now, and then Soretta, I know you've been chiming in on the chat, but if you want to take yourself off mute and share anything or introduce yourself, Joey, specifically as the first year class advisor, anything you want to share?
Yes, I'm Joseph Graves, also known as Joey. This is my third year as class advisor and my first year as a regent. And I absolutely love the week in Villanova with the students, with the staff, with the instructors. You're going to go away with a lot of things that will help you in your everyday work life. And I look forward to meeting all of you.
Thank you. And Soretta, are you available to chime in on anything?
Sure. Hey, everyone. So this is my first year as a Board of Regent. I graduated from Villanova last year. Absolutely love the site, and I think you will too. Currently, I'm staying at the Radnor, and I'm happy to give rides, although I think I may be going in a little bit earlier than you might want to. But now that now that you mentioned that they don't have breakfast, I may be looking at somewhere else to stay. But we're excited to meet all of you guys. You're going to love this session. So looking forward to it.
Thank you. And I'm seeing a lot of people chiming in the chat that the refectory as a drop-off point worked well last year. So again, I'll put the link for the refectory in the chat as well. But it seems to be the consensus that is the location you should use for Uber or Lyft, and then you'll be able to cross the street. Dan, did you want to chime in with anything additional?
I didn't have anything additional, just to suggest that for those staying in the dorms, I'm a dorm person. I like staying in the dorms. For those staying in the dorms, it does make sense to bring your own pillow. Those pillows can be a little rough.
Agreed.
Perfect. That's great. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Sorry. Go ahead.
Hi, Karen. This is Mary. How are you?
Oh, hey, Mary. Good. How are you?
Hi. My name is Mary Griffin. This is my first year as well on the Regent Board. I graduated with Soretta last year from Northeast, and it is a fun week. Very fun week. But we just want you to know that you're going to get out what you put in. So plan to enjoy yourself while you're there. Plan to ignore your job while you're there. Make sure you spend your time learning all the good information that they will be distributing during that week. And more importantly, connecting with folks that you will meet for the first time. There are lifetime relationships that are built through this IOM program. And the information that you can learn from others that may be dealing with some of the same things you're dealing with will be just overwhelming. So plan to come and enjoy yourself.
Thank you, Mary. I'm trying to quickly look through the list here to see if we have other volunteers. While I'm doing that, if there's anyone else, if you would like to chime in, I don't think I see any other volunteers. So with that, those of you who are not volunteers, our attendees, are there other questions or concerns? No? All right. Well, thank you. If anything comes up, again, feel free to reach out to your class advisor or staff. We have our info there, iom@uschamber.com. Many of you have already been in communication, as well as our phone number. We do have that email that I mentioned earlier coming out tomorrow that will have all of this information, as well as a link to this recording. And we look forward to seeing everyone on site on the 28th, unless there's anything else going once, twice. Okay.
Thanks very
All
much,
right.
Karen. Travel safely, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.